Amen. So how's Lent going?
Great.
Right? How are things since Fat Tuesday? I never understood the name, but that day makes me fat. Anybody celebrate Fat Tuesday? Do anything?
It's called Fat Tuesday.
Tuesday before Ash Wednesday has taken on the name Fat Tuesday. Right? You're just hearing about it? Then you don't know nothing about Mardi Gras.
The way that you tell me.
That's why Miss Cheryl's a saint. Right? Who knows about Fat Tuesday? Who's willing to admit they know about Mardi Gras? This is a church. It's the house of the Lord. You gotta be honest. We know about Mardi Gras. We know about Fat Tuesday. So I just figured we'll do a Fat Tuesday Lent check-in to see how everybody's doing, because typically you start your fast or your activity for Lent and you feel pretty good, right? And then you hit day 3, maybe not so good, depending on what you gave up. Captain Tabitha gave up social media, so that just means she asks me more questions. Like, it's kind of interesting. So she's given up all kind of online stuff. So my family is avid news watchers. So I'm following everything that's happening. And there's a lot happening globally. And do not judge too harshly that Captain Tabitha is not aware in depth of what's going on globally. And right now, I think she chose the good thing to fast from in terms of not getting involved with the media, not getting involved with the news cycle that's going on. And she is having a completely different Lent experience than many of us. But yeah, it's just we come into these seasons in the church and we expect people to participate, but we never really talk about them. Like, what are they? Such as talking about the Seder, which is a Jewish tradition. They have a meal heading into the Passover season as part of Passover, where they're expecting Messiah to show up and do something. So we're expecting Messiah. I even love it. As part of the Seder, somebody will knock, right? And do you know what they ask? Elijah, is that you? Right? So it's full of this hum of expectation, and it's really good. And when we practice Lent, a big thing about Lent, it seems kind of strange, but when we go into Lent, it's supposed to be this emptying experience. It's supposed to empty us out, right? Now, who knows emptiness? You've hit a season, you've lost somebody, lost a job. You're heading from, especially as you're getting older, we have these lifespan development cycles that we follow. As we get older and when we switch these seasons, you lose who you were and you don't know who you are now, right? Anybody hit that moment of emptiness? I don't know who I am, right? It feels weird. I'm in my mid 40s. I don't know who I am, right? And people are like, how are you today? How do you expect me to answer how I am today? I don't even know who I am. Right? And we hit these cycles as we go through things in life, trying to figure it out. And we hit these seasons of emptiness. And it seems strange, but the church felt that it was good for us to intentionally pursue a time of being empty. So I ask again, who's hit empty? Maybe you're hitting empty right now, right? I don't know what it is. This is a good season to be empty because we get to expect what? Messiah, right? We're waiting for that knock. So when we hit this, it's very interesting because you brought up like Fat Tuesday. We talk about Fat Tuesday. It became known that way because the idea was when you're fasting from certain things, you can't eat them. So the Tuesday before your fast starts, you're checking your pantry and it's full of things that you're not supposed to eat. But if you grew up in a household like mine, throwing it away is not an option, right? Captain Tabitha's family, they had the empty plate club. So the idea is you want to use up all that food so it doesn't go to waste. You know you can't eat it on Wednesday. So what do? Party. Right? You'd throw these parties, you'd have these lavish meals, you'd have everything, especially the things that you can't eat that you're gonna want, you use up hence Fat Tuesday, right? Even the word Mardi Gras itself is French for Fat Tuesday. So it's this idea of let me use up all this stuff so that my pantry area is an intentionally empty area. So we're heading into this Lent season. The idea is you're practicing these fasts or these discipleship skills that we, pull out of the closet around holy moments like this, leading up to Easter. We dust them off, we practice them. We're doing it intentionally because in reality, as we'll see in Matthew 25, we need seasons in life where we do an oil check. So in Matthew 25, it's a parable that Jesus told, and I feel like everybody knows this parable, but we don't study it. And it's the parable of the 10 virgins, and they each have these lamps that they're prepping and getting ready because they're being part of a wedding. They're about to get married. Part of the ceremony is at midnight, the groom comes out, and they yell that the groom is coming, and they're supposed to light these lamps and have them prepped and prepared so that their light is shining when the groom comes. And as we see in this, 5 of them thought, maybe I should bring some extra oil just in case. Show of hands. Who is a just in case person? Right? There's discussion. Typically in a relationship, there's a just in case person, and there is a we'll handle it when we get there person. There's discussion who that is in my marriage right now. Right? But like, are you so 5 of them are like, just in case. And 5 of them are like, no, everything's normal. We just have to have our, lamp ready. I like this because I was researching it, and they're not actually lamps. Who pictures like the clay lamp with like the thing? It was actually a torch. They lit a torch. I'm like, this wedding got cooler, right? I imagine instantly Indiana Jones with this torch. So that's what they have, right? They have this torch that they have to keep lit, they have to keep burning. 5 of them realize, oh no, something happened. The groom's presence isn't here when it's supposed to be, and I'm running out of light. How scary. How scary. And they look to the people next to them that brought extra, and they're like, we're okay. Can I have some of your oil? I didn't bring that kind of oil. You better go get your own oil. And by the time they go and get it and they get back to their spots, what's happened? The groom has passed by. The groom has passed by. Now, Jesus is like trying to encourage them about what life will be like when he passes. This is the story he tells them. This is the story. Because part of the comfort that Jesus is trying to do is warn them about what life is like when you're feeling empty, you're feeling low, and you haven't thought to yourself, let me have some extra oil. So he is talking to them about an oil check. When we hit Lent, in the season of Lent, we're supposed to be emptying ourselves out in order to look at what we've been holding and what we've been containing, because we need to have these seasonal oil checks. So when you're driving a car and that oil check light comes on, you'll think to yourself, I have oil in there, but what's the problem? Right? Have you seen the color of new oil versus the color of old oil? Right? This is where I need Pat here so I can ask him questions and he can say, this is what happens to your engine. If you keep using that old, dirty oil, this is what's going to happen. If you let it run low, if you let it run out, this is what's going to happen. And Jesus is talking to them, to the people around him, saying, do you understand when you don't have good oil, what's going to happen? Do you understand what will happen if you run out of this oil? You better schedule an oil check regularly so that doesn't happen to you. You need these seasonal oil checks in order to have this healthy flow, this healthy life, this healthy light that is shining in the world. And that is what Jesus is going for. But when we hit these oil checks, right, and we do this and we think we're doing the work, we're asking ourselves, is it our oil, right? We say to ourselves what I call the justs. This is a sign to me that my oil is low, right? I just need to get this out of my system. I just need to pick a day to start. I just need some momentum. I just need a church where the worship is better. You better not think that today. I just need better teaching. Ditto. I just need better people. I just need a better Bible study. I just. Right? It's the just trap. We say, I just need this, I just need that. If I just had this, then everything would be okay. Now, what that shows me is I'm running out of oil, but I am thinking there's something wrong with my lamp. Because the Bible studies, the teachings, the worship times, right? All these things, the fellowship time that we're about to have and eat, are actually lamps. They're not oil. So we'll say to myself, man, I better transition to a new church because I don't feel it like I did. What we're doing is going to another lamp expecting there to be oil. Now, the problem is my lamp will always follow me. So what will happen when I get to that new church? I always love it. Billy Graham said, if you ever find the perfect church, don't go to it. You'll probably ruin it. Right? We say to ourselves, just this, I just this, I just this, I just this. And it's the equivalent of anybody like that TV show Big Bang Theory? Like, I like that show. And at one scene, the one character has to do her laundry, and the character is like, you need to do your laundry. Her solution was just to buy more clothes. Right? And instantly, there's a deeper issue going on here than just dirty clothes, right? There's deeper things going on than just, oh, if I just did this and I had this and I had the perfect setup, if I just did this. I just. When we start to get into the adjusts, it's a trap where we are trying to change our lamps and saying, well, if I just had a different lamp. So like I said, they're torches. A torch is just a stick that has a piece of oil-soaked cloth on the end. If I get a new stick, is that going to solve my problem? Nope, because that actually isn't the problem. Why don't I like this situation? When I say I'm understanding something is uncomfortable, something is wrong, something is not functioning the way that God designed it to function. So I have to change something, and our natural instinct is to change everything but us. So we say to ourselves, nope, it's good to be empty. I'm going to celebrate Fat Tuesday, get rid of all the things that I know I can't do or can't have. I'm going to enter Lent, and then everything is going to be okay when I get empty. Right? But that's not it. We need to encounter the God of those moments. In reality, we know the answer. So I'm not even going to spend a lot of time with it. The answer is his presence. The presence of God, understanding, let me empty out myself. Let me choose a place of emptiness so that you can fill me. So when we enter Lent, we hit this season where we're okay with being emptied. Hopefully we understand just switching lamps isn't going to work, and we need more of God's presence. So then we can come up to God and say, God, I am empty. You need to fill me You need to top me off. You need to fill me and you need to top me off. Because honestly, that's the other problem I have. I will put just enough oil in that engine to keep it running. I will put just enough gas in that car to get me to the point where I need to get more gas, right? I put just enough air in the tires so that that light goes off. I will, right? I will get it in there. As we're experiencing this season of Lent, it is very important not just to get to the point where I say, well, I emptied myself out. I feel better than I have before. I've, went to some prayer meetings, some worship times. I felt and spent time with God's presence. Okay, I feel okay. Let me go on, right? And we don't try to fill us up to the brink and keep it going and top us off and say, fill me up to the point that I am overflowing. Fill me up. There's a story about this in the Old Testament where the prophet Elisha comes to a woman, and the woman is the widow of one of the prophets in training. And she looks to Elisha, the head of the school of the prophets, and says, what am I going to do? My husband is dead. I have nothing. And the creditors want to take my kids. What am I supposed to do? So Elisha says, do you have any oil containers? Yes, get them all. In fact, get every single container you can find. Go to the neighbors, knock on their door and say, are you using this? Can I borrow this? Get all the Tupperware, get all the lock and lock, get everything that you can and bring it back to me and let's work this out. She gets every possible container. Her son gets every possible container that they can find. They bring it to the prophet. The prophet prays over her tiny little thing of oil that she has, and she starts to pour it out. And what happens? She pours, she pours, she pours, she pours, she pours, she pours, and she pours until her son comes up and says, Mom, we're out of containers. The prophet says, take care of your debt, live on the rest. We start to struggle because, as I said, in this little wedding march, there's a cry, a midnight cry that happens. The groom is coming. 5 anticipated that he would get there like that. I've been to this wedding before. I know how this goes. I'm sure he's going to be right on time, except he wasn't. There was a delay. All of a sudden, they are experiencing what is it like when there's a delay in the answer that you're expecting? What happens when there's a delay in the next seasonal change? What happens when there's a delay in the next answer? What happens when there's a delay in provision? What happens? What happens? I'm sure all of us would remain calm. What happens when the groom is delayed? And that's exactly what happens. Panic. And they go to it and they realize we only try to get just enough oil. Just enough. As disciples of Jesus, we are not satisfied with just enough. We are not satisfied with just enough because that's not the promise of Jesus, is it? The promise of Jesus is abundance. The promise of Jesus is overflowed, pressed down, shaken together. Right? What is the promise of Jesus? I love that in the grace of God, the promise is never just enough, but often we treat him as a just enough God. And we don't say, is there something greater? As we come into a season of Lent, when we hit empty, when we hit bottom, when we feel hollowed out, we have the opportunity to also get rid of all of our low expectations of what God has for us. What kind of an expectation is a low expectation? Like if you're going to go into a season of practicing your expectation, of practicing your hunger, of practicing your desire, your expectation has to be greater. God, I have been thinking that this was what was going to happen. You were going to come here at this time with this resources and provide this much. But in reality, we got to get rid of that too, because God has something more. No eye has seen, no ear has heard. What is the more that God has? Sometimes you got to get to the point of hunger before you can ask that question. Because in reality, if you live your life day to day over the year goes by, you're okay with just enough. You're okay with it. There is this thing about where you are content with good enough, but hungry for more. That's the walk of Christianity. What is the thing in your life that you're pursuing God for that you're thinking, God, if I just had this, it would be enough? If I just had this, I'd be okay. I just need this. That is not encountering God. That is encountering Santa, right? Don't you look at Santa and you think just what you want? Santa, if you give me this one thing, I'll be happy. You're going to treat the eternal being that created all things like you're going to look at him and say, if you just give me this, I'll be happy. Right? My older brother, who is in White Plains, is an absolute jerk to his little brother. But he would say to me every once in a while, you know, Scott, one day you'll realize you don't know anything. I was a bit of a smart aleck. He would say to me, I would get so mad to him. Like, is there one phrase that a sibling would tell you or somebody in your life, your family would tell you that, man, that really got you? So that really got me. He would say, one day, because I love to know things, I'm a very curious person. And he said, one day I would know I don't know anything. I would get so mad at him. And then as I developed my relationship with the Lord, I thought, what a great gift to one day realize I don't know anything. And that includes when we're coming to God about what he can give us. So in this season of Lent, we get to pursue God in a way where we say to him, God, I don't know nothing. I don't know what you have for me. I don't know what your plans are for me. I don't know. I am so busy chasing my tail, trying to find what's going to make me happy, what's going to make me feel satisfied and okay, that I actually don't know what will make me okay. I don't know what that is. That could be a place to live. That could be a job. That could be a level of income. That could be a level of healthiness. We set our bar low because our God is too small. And then we trade it for these things that satisfy us temporarily. So, this is one of the dangers for saying yes to the just and being okay with the good enough. Is chances are, if I see a quick solution or a quick answer, it's one of my life's idols. It's an idol I'm going to, not eternal God. And I see this idol and I start to negotiate with that idol and I say, I'll give you this, you give me that. And then we start to trade and we start to barter. There's a book that we had to read called Playing God. And in it, this guy says this about idols. You can spot idols because they will ask increasingly more of you while giving increasingly less, eventually leaving you with nothing at all. But that's not what God has for you. God has this idea that in this season of hunger and desperation, whether it is Lent or some other period of the year, some other thing going on in your life besides fasting and praying for Easter, when you hit these places of emptiness, you have the opportunity to say, you know what? I know what this is. It's an oil check. This is an oil check. Okay, God, am I trying to focus on solutions that are really just swapping out lamps? Or am I focused on your presence? God, am I focused on surviving on as little as possible or going for your abundance? God, what am I really focused on? What do I really want? What do I really need? God, I know nothing. And what does Paul say? I want to know nothing except Christ and Him crucified. And that's why Easter is the conclusion to this season. I just want to know you and you crucified. God, if I could wrap my head around what happened, if I could just get my heart into it, if I could understand the goodness that happened and that was released, if I understood just what it was, the abundance that you were talking about, all of a sudden my trust issues and who God is would probably go away. God, I'm empty. God, I've been living off bad oil. I need refreshed. I need renewed. And I just need you. That's what we're pursuing here. And that's my encouragement to you. If you are practicing Lent, think about the emptiness and how it's not a bad thing. Uncomfortable, nobody likes fasting. Had a friend once that decided he was supposed to fast from food for 5 days. Day 3, he felt like the Lord told him it was time to eat at McDonald's so that he should break his fast. After lunch, I said, "How do you feel?" And he looked at me and said, "I don't think that was the Lord." It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. And that's okay. We have to be okay with uncomfortable. We have to learn to love it because of what it means we're headed toward. We have to embrace it with open arms and saying, in this season of heartbreak, in this season of loneliness, in this season of just not knowing, I know you are going to come with fresh oil and grace and love and mercy and justice. Because blessed are those, right? We're going to be the blessed. We're going to be the favorite of God. Let me pray for you, and then we're going to enjoy some food.